trying to do this.
G'day guys, and welcome to the Art of War podcast. I'm your host Nick, and I'm here with Daniel Real.
Hey guys.
Today we have a very special guest, our first guest, Liam Spronken.
How's it going?
Cool. It's really good to have you here.
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
good, it's good to be here, actually.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple of days since we last seen you. It's been a couple hours since we last spoke to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a good draft on Saturday.
Yeah.
Trying out
yeah.
new Monarch.
So yeah, first
Good times.
first impressions of Monarch, Liam.
Well, I've been trying to force Levy a bit too much, and it's-
Draft and in sealed, or just
Yeah, both. And
Well,
it seems
constructed.
very hard to make functional
Yeah, you need a lot
and
of
limited. Like the magic seem very important for the deck.
I found Runeblade was really easy to force and draft, but you just lost.
I think
You just dig yourself out way too quick.
you need that finishing potential. I think, which is very much the
Yeah,
arcane
so-
barrier.
The issue with Chain is that it feels really easy to build, and you can be building it and feel like you're doing everything right. And then when it comes to it, if you block away things too early, or you just don't have enough damage in your deck, it can be really hard to get there.
Yeah.
That's what I found when I drafted it. I played it at pre-release.
So how have
The
your
first one.
pulls been? How many boxes, how many cases have you opened of Unlimited,
I've
and what are your
opened
pulls?
3 cases of Unlimited. The first one was terrible. I
How
got
terrible are we talking?
no legendaries.
Yeah.
It's a yikes
Yeah.
case.
No, well, those feelings are like.
In the second one, I bullied Daniel into selling me one of his because I felt bad that they hadn't opened anything.
Yeah,
and
I
I
did feel really bad.
And I opened Eclipse on that one, so
Yeah,
at least I got
this
one.
is better.
And then I opened one today and got 2 Phantasmal Footsteps, so that's made up for it.
Nice. You'll be getting all your legendaries sorted.
So,
then.
so far,
Yeah, I've traded for the legendaries at least.
I've opened 3 cases, and I think I opened 2 legendaries my first one, no legendaries my second one, which video hasn't gone up yet, but it will be going up at some point in the near
Nice.
future.
Mhm.
And
Is it
then
even
in
worth
my
putting up?
third one, which was just before, I opened 1.
Mm.
However, Dan here on the other side of the table,
Yeah, this is the man to talk to.
Come
about
on,
Monarch
alright.
pulls.
tell us.
All right.
Give
my
us the
Monarch pulls
rundown.
were a little bit good. So I started off. I opened 3 cases, and in my first case, I got 2 legendaries and the library. And then the rest, I had 1 legendary case and 2 legendary case, so they were really good. And then I traded the Fable to another mate of mine for another 2 cases. One of which I ended up selling to Liam, as we heard earlier. And then the other one, there was another Fable. So
Was it just a Fable, or was there a legendary in
there's
that
a
case?
legendary too. So it's just, yeah, it's been nuts because like I would have from the cases I opened, I would have thought that I'd need to buy more cards, but I have pretty much everything I need in the whole set. I got 6 legendaries total, and they're all different. So I got
You have a bit
the
too
whole-
much luck with
too
these
much
Fables.
luck. Yeah, I might need
As
to
someone
go
that
and-
helped you open your first couple of packs of Crucible, I know. As someone
Yeah.
that was there for your first couple of cases of Monarch
yeah,
opening.
so. Yeah, with the Crucible, when Crucible War came out, I bought 2 boxes, and Nick opened me a Fable out of that too. So I've been
Opening,
really
like,
lucky.
the first 5 packs for you. I
Yeah,
was like, gutted.
I'm good at opening them, but I can never time the market. I'm going to sell them at the worst time. So, Liam, we've talked a bit about how we got into Flesh and Blood on some of our previous episodes.
Yep.
How did you get into Flesh and Blood?
I got into Flesh and Blood actually through a Learn to Play day that Nick ran at the store Dice Show Games. It was just after lockdown had ended here,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking for something to play because there wasn't much Magic that I was interested in. I don't really like Draft, so
So
I've been mainly playing Modern.
You've played Magic for a long time, right?
I played Magic for about 6 or 7 years now. Yeah,
Mhm.
So you have a good experience in TCGs already before
Yeah.
then.
yeah.
Did you try
Only-
many other TCGs other than Magic?
Just Cardfight Vanguard, which is an older one that first TCG I ever played.
It's doing well, I hear.
Yeah, that's why you've heard of it, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
No,
yeah,
I-
and then so I played at the Learn to Play event here, and I was like, oh yeah, it's really fun. Got some decks to play with some of my friends, and that was alright.
Yeah, I got a good
Mhm.
impression from you and Josh when I taught you guys on that day.
Yeah, and then I didn't really pick up the game seriously until the Road to Nationals in Nelson, which Daniel came second in actually. I travelled up to play Magic and
So
played
was it Modern?
Modern and Team Unified, which was pretty fun.
Yeah. So they at the Nelson tournament they had Magic on the day before.
Yeah.
So
And the
they-
day of.
They yeah.
Yeah, that was a team event the day
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we came up and we met Liam up there, and he was playing Magic, and then the next day he came to watch us play Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
So what was that
Yeah.
tournament like for you?
That's pretty cool. It was definitely very cool watching a couple of Dunedin players top 8.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you did have to knock out Nick to do it.
Yeah, that was
But-
quite unfortunate.
Rough.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I 03'd the Friday night armory event in Nelson with Pummel Ninja. And that was
Oh, that's rough.
Feels bad. It's a
Yeah.
meme deck.
Oh, actually, no, I might have won 3'd. I remember beating Money Gardwell in the last round, and he was on Ranger. So it's like the consolation prize, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, so then I brought some Crucible, and we started playing. I started playing armor events a bit more seriously down here, finding a deck that I actually liked. And then Daniel showed up to an armor event one day with Brute. He's like, "This deck's really cool. Like, it's not actually just a mid-range deck that does things. It's a combo deck where you pitch
Yeah.
Blood Rush Bellows and kill people." So I played that and ended up taking it to Nationals, which
So-
is my first big tournament, really.
So we ended up playing the same deck. So Liam and I were playing.
I think they're like 1 or 2 cards different.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
effectively the
Liam
same
and I were
thing.
playing the ended up playing Brute together, and we were playtesting a lot, and we ended up coming out with like a club Brute deck. So we kind of play like a mid-range control deck against some of the more aggressive decks in the format, and then it would go full combo against some of the solo decks.
Yeah.
So we thought this deck would be like really good against Dash, and we thought it would be good against Bravo, which turned out it wasn't.
Yeah. Turns out
Um,
when you're clubbing for 4 and they're clubbing for 6,
Yeah.
it's a losing battle.
Yeah. So at the time, we thought it had good matchups against some of the more dominant decks in the meta. So
And then we ticked it for the Ninja and the,
The
Warrior
Warrior.
matchup, which were the ones we were really concerned about going to Nats.
Yeah.
I think that because I did the testing with you guys, and I was usually on the Warrior side so that you guys could get that testing.
Yeah.
yeah,
I found like most of those Warriors were really tough fought from you guys, or
It was a hard matchup.
yeah.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's
it
why
is
we ended up
definitely-
on 3 red unmovables main deck.
Yeah.
which
But that's
was-
why you guys were confident on your dash matchup, was because against like heavy dash control, which was what I was playing, you
Yeah.
just destroyed it the second it lost it in Induction Chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Arc Smash is just such a massive card for that deck in the matchup. You just can really take the game control
Mm.
from there.
If you made Ninja block, then it was a really tough matchup. But if Ninja didn't block, it
Yeah.
was concerning.
Yeah, so I think I ended up getting blown out by the one ninja I played at Nats. Was Nick Anderson.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
remember one turn he blew me out with 2 ancestral empowerment in the same turn.
Yeah.
And like I could beat the first one, but the second one just was game losing.
Yeah.
And that felt pretty rough, but
Yeah,
that's how the
definitely.
matchup goes. They can just do that to you.
So you made top 8.
I did, yeah.
You did.
So I went 6-1 the first day, losing only to Matt Rogers in round 2. Yep.
Rough.
And then came
So-
into
He was on mech, which was one of the matchups we thought that the deck was
Yes,
best
but
against.
we weren't.
So,
So he was playing
yeah.
mid
So
range.
he was playing mid range. So we sideboarded into a much more aggressive deck than we expected.
Yeah.
And then he ended up putting 6 items into play about turn 5 or 6, and then shooting me for 20 repeatedly, and that was
that's pretty
It's
rough.
just-
didn't
yeah.
found an Art of War in the top half of my deck, so that's how that game went. But every other mech I played was I played versus some other big names. Kiki Labad, who was the
Dash
that
control
was
play?
day 2, and I played. They were on dash control, and they put me to 1 really early in the game. And they were on like 20, 25 life. So I spent the whole game blocking 3 or 4 cards and just getting clubs in where I could. Ended up winning on off a double reckless swing on one turn
Nice.
with a game I had no business winning. So that was
Yeah.
by far my closest game of the day.
Yep.
And I played Rohan Kana for second last round of Swiss. And Rohan's a great dude. I've played him second last round of every big tournament I've played in now, which is quite funny. And that was just unfair. I drew Arg Smash turn 2, destroyed 2 induction chambers, and he was drawing to Remembrance, and it was at the bottom of his deck, so
It's
was
super
just
hard to recover
easy,
from
eh?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard if you don't actually have the remembrances for control.
Yeah,
So-
and then I owe Kieran a beer, I think, for conceding to me in the last round so we could get some lunch.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we haven't actually talked about nationals much on this podcast at all. So what was kind of your experience going up to nationals outside of play, just
Outside of
heading
place.
up to Auckland?
Yeah, so I went up and stayed with my
Sorry, well
cousin and his fiance.
Yep.
And that was really good to catch up with them. And then I think we went into town for some drinks that night.
Yeah, yeah.
All 3 of us on the Friday night.
Yeah.
Good old Friday
the day
night.
the day before a tournament, which is always a good idea.
So
Yeah, a couple.
This
I
is
believe
this
a
is
couple
our
of beers.
this is our secret national strategy,
Yeah.
was to get absolutely pissed the night before the tournament.
Originally the
So-
plan was a couple of beers, go back and have some food, and then just do some testing. And I just a couple of beers just turned into a couple of rounds, followed by a couple
Yeah.
more rounds, followed by a couple more rounds, and a lot of bar hopping.
Yeah. A couple of beers turned from, a bar crawl from 4:30 till 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
So
I think
Yeah.
I taxied back at about 12:30, and then I heard Nick appeared out of a bar somewhere,
yeah,
and Daniel had to look after him for the next 2 hours or something.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't remember much of that, but after that point, I just remember spewing a lot
Yeah.
outside, heads down, and then getting in a car, opening the door, spewing out it while they went into the gas station.
So I don't know why
believe.
they say binge drinking culture is a problem in New Zealand, but
It's obviously not.
You
And
talk about
then-
Friday, mate.
so then that was the Friday night, and then Saturday I had to get up at 7 o'clock to bus into town, and I really regretted the previous day.
Mm.
And then I got there and I saw Nick, and suddenly I felt a lot better about myself because that was the most pale I've ever seen the man. And
So we
So-
also had to get up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
But that's because we had to get like 5 guys in for a shower, get them hydrated, and get us ready to go, and get our deck lists ready. And I
yeah.
must tell you,
Yeah, actually,
I
man.
wasn't ready until the last 10 minutes before we left. I was
Yeah.
dead on the floor. I was
Yeah.
in the bathroom. Luckily, he had multiple bathrooms. I was dead on the floor in one of the bathrooms, trying to chug back Powerade, trying to
Yeah.
breathe,
I
and then just
never-
watching it come back out.
I never believed in ghouls or dead men walking, but saw Nick that day, and he's white as a sheet and just so. It was actually a miracle that you won games. You actually-
Yeah. So I won my first 2 games, and I swear to God, had a funny smell come past me at all at any point in that, I would have been spewing across tens and thousands of dollars of cards, and would have been probably
Not ideal.
not ideal.
Yeah.
And then I believe I lost the 3rd round against an aggro / mid-range Runeblade player
Mm-hmm.
while
Was
I had
this,
all my items out.
Nelson player, was it? Or
Yes, I think so. Nelson
Um,
Wellington, I can't remember his name.
Jed, I think.
Yeah, Jed.
He comes up with some pretty cool deck lists.
He's a
there,
good guy. Yeah.
I was pretty toasted, and I shouldn't have lost that match.
Right.
But
Just mistakes were
then-
made. Yep.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
next match I go
The
into
mistakes
a
that already
warrior
been
one.
made.
Yeah.
Just-
So
Yeah.
yeah, as for my tournament experience, I was playing this deck that I kitted out for Dash, and I was like pretty hyped to play some games. So we get in, the first round pairings are called, and I actually get a bye. And
against a Dunedin player that
That
didn't
didn't-
come
it
up.
didn't come up. So
Yeah.
come on, guys, actually show up next time. But
Oh, it's
but
not like
yeah,
his capacity anyway, so-
I hate buys. So if I get the buy round 1, I just to me it's like you're playing against. Sure, you get a free win, but you're playing against other people that have had an entire game to warm up, who've already won a game, they're feeling good, and you're just coming in cold.
Yeah.
And I did actually win that second game, but it just is. I always feel it's a hard way to start off a tournament, like kind of later than everyone else. And then I think there was a warrior player that I played in the second round,
I
but
think I remember watching that game actually. and
yeah. Anyway, I start getting paired up against Guardians. So third match I think was against Kale, and at the time we thought the Brute Guardian matchup was pretty good, but it wasn't. You club for 4, they club for 6. Yeah, kind of end of story. I ended up getting paired against 2 Guardians in a row, and then I lost to, was it John? Warrior player afterwards.
who top 8'd?
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Lariga.
yeah.
He beat me round 1 of top 8.
Yeah, he's a really
It
good
was a
warrior
very different
player.
warrior build to the one we'd been
Yeah.
testing versus well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very go wide.
I was quite in control of the game. I was like dicking him out, and then he got me with the double singing Steelblade.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
Double singing
I was
Steelblade
singing
kill.
Steelblade into singing Steelblade into route, I think.
Yeah, to kill me, which was a bit feels bad, but yeah, very well played to him. And yeah, that was kind of the end of my Nationals run with 3 losses.
Mm.
So just feel a little bit bad playing
So-
a deck to beat Dash and not playing a single one when the deck
Yeah.
was like 40% or something, 30-40%.
Yeah, it was quite high.
So yeah, bad beats aside, it was
Mm.
like a really cool trip.
It was a really good weekend. Good
Yeah.
catch up with people. bad choice was made on Friday, but apart from that, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
Like, can't complain.
It was
To be
really
honest.
And it really got me hooked on the game, to be honest. Like, just been playing it.
Yeah, really nice after party too.
Yeah.
Like, ordered by.
Off over to Fork and Brewer,
Choice?
and we had.
No,
Yeah.
after party was at Choice.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, with the
That's
crazy
Because
brews.
Braden, yes,
Yeah,
Braden,
Braden organised the after party.
yes, he brewed up a special brew called Crazy Brew, and that was
That's very nice.
And he's now at Fork and Brewer, and
That's
he's-
right. That's what I was thinking of Fork and Brewer.
We started Friday night off at Fork and Brewer. That's where we were. But he's there now, and he's just recently made another batch of Crazy Brew, and I actually have a guest coming down at the start of June. And he's bringing Crazy Brews down for me,
Ooh,
That's
nice.
exciting.
so I'm pretty excited.
Just in
hopefully
time for your
travel well.
housewarming, Nick.
Yep, just in time for my housewarming. It's getting exciting.
Yeah.
Started packing up all my
Sweet.
cards. It's feels bad. My deck skills, building skills, is downhill because they're all packed away.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Speaking of deck building,
Speaking of deck building, how's Monarch deck building going for you guys? What are you guys on?
well, yeah. So I was pretty low on Levia personally. I
Yeah,
don't think it really
so-
had the tools to
Yeah, Liam and I.
to play a consistent game plan.
Liam and I pulled out all the cards. So we pulled out all the commons, all the rares, all the majestics for Levia, and we put them on the table, and we're like, "What the hell? These cards are all bad."
Yeah.
And
And they were trying to do like two halves of different decks.
yeah,
Like one half wants to use the really strong weapons she gets and try and make it consistent with either Metax or Hexagore.
yeah,
But then with Hexagore, you're going to be killing yourself with Blood Debt because you're not banishing at the same time.
yeah,
So, yeah, ended up Daniel threw together a pile of cards, brought it in, and I played it a couple games versus Chain Deck, which seems fairly strong.
yeah,
And then I just beat him 3 games in a row, and it didn't feel close.
yeah.
And
So this this chain deck I was playing had outraced aggro ninja player like pretty consistently, and then I sat down against this Livia deck, which was literally just a pile of cards I put together of, hey, this would be cool. Like we're playing Primeval Bellows and stuff in there, like just some really random stuff. And he was outracing me with Hexagore and stuff. And I was thinking, gosh, this deck actually has some legs because we didn't respect how just raw damage.
yeah,
Because we were thinking about like on hits or stuff like that.
which is something
Just-
Brutes always lacked. So
Yeah.
their pressure really is damage. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're thinking like without Intimidate, it's going to be super hard to force things, and just turns out just attacking for 20 is pretty good.
When you play, what is it, the Dread Screamer into just Hexagore, that's just 12 damage, and you can do it off 2 cards and a tunic counter.
Yeah.
That's
That's pretty
it's
good.
pretty strong, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're playing, you're actually attacking with Hex Score, even though it was like.
I was
hurting
attacking
you.
with it really early. It felt really nice to just attack for 6, take 4, and then make them lose cards or take 6 damage, and that's speeding up the game, which is good for you.
Yeah.
Cause especially this chain where you don't want them to stack up those
Yeah.
soul shackles and get massive hands that you can't block out
Yeah,
effectively.
yeah, because the way chain feels is that it's an and it's an aggressive deck, but it doesn't really get going until turn 4, turn 5. So you have kind of 4 turns to try and really punish them for doing these kind of weaker turns.
Yeah.
Where they're kind of like slow, which is very different from Ninja, which is out the gate, turn 2, turn 3 with their fresh tunic counter, like really aggressive, put lots of pressure on you. Chain kind of is a bit slow until he can get those 2 blues in hand with 4 or 5 cards in the banish zone. So if you just speed the game up by attacking with Hexagore for 6, even taking 4, it's still worth it.
The impactful turns chain gets matters a lot less. Also, something that came up which was pretty relevant is am I allowed to say the card of the week yet? I kind of want to talk about how it was relevant in this matchup.
All right, yeah, we'll bring up card of the week a little bit early.
Yeah. So our card of the week was Carrion Husk.
So this is a card of the week chosen by our guest Liam. So he wanted to talk about this card today.
So it's an equipment that blocks for 6, which is obviously great.
Mm-hmm.
But then it banishes itself, or it banishes itself if you are under 13 at the start of your turn, I believe.
No, if you're at 13 or under.
Oh, that's
so
right.
even
It
if
came
you
up once
just
for you,
hit,
yeah.
So I actually misread the card, thought it was under, and then reread it as I went to 13 and went, I'll banish this, which is a bit sad.
So yeah, back to what I was saying, in the matchup of Chain vs Levia, making Daniel block with the Carrion Husk as early as possible was fantastic, because he just takes a damage each turn off it.
Yeah.
He can't do anything
it does
about
like
it.
get to the point where it's done 3-4 damage to you, and at that point, it's not a very efficient block because you would have only
Yeah.
blocked 2 damage.
Unlike Levy using it where you can negate that blood debt and
Yeah.
not have the downside.
Livia
Yeah.
makes it really efficient just because you don't take damage from it. You can just use it really early and not worry too much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the card is crazy because it forces a lot of decks to really kind of restructure their game plan around it. So when I was playing my chain deck, which also plays Carrion Husk, against the Aggro Ninja, my opponent would look at his hand, Callum Rogers, sees his Surging Strike, and he's like, this doesn't even do anything.
Yeah.
It just eats an equipment.
You're
That's
Surging
it.
Strike and it's an equipment block, and that's
Yeah,
can't beat that.
pretty gross. So it just like eats a full aggro. Because usually the Surging Strike tunes in Aggro Ninja are very, very scary.
Yeah.
But it just stops it. They're really powerful.
I think the card will be better in Kane for Blitz. I think by the time like you get to turn 4 or 5 where you've got the shackles, is about the turn where you like throw it out and get rid of it then, and that just gives you the full turn to keep your hand
Yeah.
while you reveal 5 cards off the top of your deck and then go ham the next turn.
I also think Carrion Husk is the only reason you would almost play Levia and Blitz.
Yeah.
Big storm.
Losing the OTK potential Rhino has is pretty big for your trade-off in your brute decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kieran Husk is obviously a big upside. Like having 6 equipment block where Rhino doesn't is massive.
Yeah.
Especially with Rhino wanting to play like Barkbone Strapping and Heart and Cross Strap and Blitz.
Yeah.
Like these 1 and 0 block equipments. Getting effectively 26 life to start with is pretty good.
Yeah, so as we talked about on the podcast previously, big stompy decks are traditionally not very good in Bloods.
Yeah.
And so they have this. Now the big stompy deck has a 6 block equipment and has lots of ways to go again with Dread Screamer and stuff. It might be viable just with the sheer damage output. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to.
Yeah, I haven't
to
thought much
see.
about Blitz, to be honest. We do have a skirmish event down here announced that will be Blitz here.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't even considered what I'll be playing. Might go back to Kano, which I played at Calling Auckland 2021.
Should we talk about that?
Move
Just
on
a
to
calling in general?
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about Calling. Yeah.
So we went up to the calling into the January, into January, right? It was
Yeah,
like
it
the
was.
last weekend
It
of
was
January.
Yeah,
about
so it was
27th of January or something.
In Auckland.
All up
So-
together in the same house.
Yeah, we did.
Pretty
A couple
nice.
of other friends, yeah.
Yeah, so it
There
was 5, 6 of us.
6
Yeah.
of us in there. It ended up being me, Dan, and Liam went up on the first night. So we went up on Thursday, and the other guys came up on Friday.
Yep.
And what did we do? What did we do on
We
that Thursday
practiced
night?
team sealed pulls.
We practiced
right.
team steel pulls.
And we got the terrible ones out of the way
It
because they
was
were
just
terrible.
wow. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we picked up a box of Crucible
Yeah.
in preparation for Team Sealed, which, if you don't know, is a format that was specially introduced for the calling. So it's where you assemble a team of 3 people, and our team is the people we have before us. Myself, Nick, and Liam were on the team, and you have 18 packs. So you have 6 packs of Welcome to Rave, 6 packs of Arcane Rising, and 6 packs of Crucible of War. And you open all those packs, and then from those packs, you have to build. No, it wasn't 18. Was it 3
It was
of each?
9 packs. It was 3 of each.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Three-
I was
nine
thinking
packs.
about it. I was like, meh.
Yeah, so sorry. Three of Wraith, 3 of Arcane Rising, and 3 of Crucible to build 3 decks between you. And it creates this really interesting sealed format where.
Creates this real interesting pool where you look at your cards and you're like, man, I have 20 cards, and Nick's sitting here hiding 40 under his hands.
Yeah.
And you have to
It's
wonder
just
why there's no
Ninja takes
playables.
everything. So
We've got the Goblin.
The way we thought the format worked is you needed to force. You basically better off just forcing Ninja and Wizard. Wizard was always going to be good in that sort of ratio because
Splitting
the-
Narune from 3
the
Arcane
Narune-
Rising packs is
it's really
hard.
tough. So Wizard just does good if they can do 20 damage really at that point. Ninja is just consistent,
Very, very easy
and
to
there
build.
is
Plays every
0
card,
cost
pretty
3
much.
blues across all 3 lots, as well as if you pull any Ninja card. As if you pull any Ninja card from Crucible, it just made the Ninja so much stronger.
Yep.
So the Ninja usually sat with like a solid 30, 40 cards, and then the other 2 decks, whatever they were, would take 1 or 2 from them to
Yeah.
bring down
and
their
to be
number
honest,
a bit more.
that Friday night, Battle Hardened was one of the most fun I've played.
It
Ah,
was
yeah.
it
One of
was
the most
my
fun
highlight
events
for the
I've ever
weekend.
played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to do it again when Crucible Unlimited comes out.
Yeah.
It's actually like
Super
just a
excited
really
for it, eh?
Yeah,
enjoyable
honestly,
format.
I'm going to be like really pushing for it because I had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Just
It's great fun.
to
What'd
get
you end
to-
up on, Dan? And that,
So I was playing Bravo because Bravo Pile is very easy to get put together and it's really
you steal all the
consistent.
pummels from the set.
Yeah, so basically you want to open some slogisms or some pummels. You just put them in a deck. I was playing
It's probably Runeblade or Bravo.
Yeah, so that's what we ended up building was you either went to Runeblade or you went to Bravo based on which class cards were better.
Yep.
And that kind of offset because Ninja takes the go low cards, Bravo takes the go tall cards, and then sometimes if you don't get the wizard, you go
Yeah.
for like a mid deck of
You go for, like,
warrior or
Warrior or Runeblade or maybe Ranger because you can play a lot of cards in it.
yeah. So,
But
yeah, the format is really interesting.
Yeah.
And
I ended up
played
on
a lot.
Kano in the Battle Hardened event and Open Stir Forked, which was insane.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can't ask for better than that.
So your games went quite well, didn't they?
Yeah, I 4-1, and the one I lost was a 0 null rune Wizard Mirror, where he put me to 8 turn 1. Oh no, it was like 5 turn 1.
Yeah.
And then I got him to 1, and then both of us bricked for about 3 turns off the top of our decks.
Yeah.
So we couldn't kill each other, and then he just drew the first piece of action, but it was super tight.
Yeah.
And that was versus a very good team, wasn't it? It was was it
That was our
Carol's
last
team?
round.
Yeah.
So I believe we lost in our last round to. It was it Carol and
Henry.
Yeah.
Because I versed Carol, right?
Yeah, so Liam was the first one to finish. I was playing a Bravo Mirror, I believe.
Something slow, yeah.
Yeah, and I had won that matchup, so we were 1-1, and whoever wins the last game takes the event because it's 2 out of 3, right? Because your team plays against the other team.
Mm.
And there's a very interesting dynamic in this format where you can talk to your teammates.
Yeah, so you
And
can help them
strategize.
play, which is...
So we had Nick on Ninja versus Warrior.
this was
No,
the previous round you're thinking
That was the
of.
previous
This
round.
is the
You're
previous
thinking
round?
no, you're thinking of the Sushi Night round. The round after we versed Carol. Carol was on Ranger, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was on
that
Ranger.
was a really close game, right?
I had a
he
long...
beat me
yeah.
just, but yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
But, I mean, having the selection,
Yeah.
I think I had a couple of bad
But
hands.
yeah,
I think it was a bad
the one
gut
Daniel
choice.
was talking about was...
Yes, that was an interesting game because I think it really showcased off an aspect of the format that you don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, so it was... yeah, Nick was playing Ninja vs Warrior, and he'd finished... me and Daniel had both finished.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there watching the game, and Daniel, who's a very good Warrior player.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I'm quite familiar with Warrior, and I played a lot of Warrior in Limited and Sealed. And the Nick has a hand, and he's on the defense against an opponent that plays Hit and Run Swings with Dawnblade. And Nick is looking at his cards, deciding whether to overblock or to match it. Would you like to kind of go through your thought process there?
So my opinion was like, if I overblock, then he can't come back, and then I get to play one card and swing back after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was considering.
Yeah.
And then at that point,
So your plan was to overblock.
yeah.
the-
So my
so they
plan was to
had a long
overblock.
Dawnblade.
You asked me about this, and I said, yeah, I want to overblock. And I think you said like something like it's not a good idea. You might as well match it. But you didn't like force the idea.
Yeah, so-
you didn't
so
help me. Yeah.
This was honestly mostly my mistake. So I knew that the correct play was to match it because it's much less likely that you get punished for it because your opponent has to either use an attack reaction to get over the top, at which point they swing anyway with the Dawnblade, or it's going to be another attack, which is the more likely option, which forces...
which is super punishing if you
Yeah,
overblock it.
well, yeah, and if you overblock a Dawnblade for 3 and then you get attacked back for 4 or 5, that can be game because that's currently a 4-card block, right? When you're low on life. So knowing this, I was saying to Nick to match it, but what I didn't do was that I didn't explain my reasoning. So I didn't. We had time. I just didn't explain that the reason that you match it here is that any overblock is more likely to be punishing, and the punish is more harsh. So Nick didn't quite understand why and overblocked anyway. And the second attack was a red Cadaverous Contraband.
Yeah.
An attack for 5 and 1 in the game, right?
6, I
So
think.
6, yeah.
yeah, it's a really interesting kind of dilemma where you've got to talk with your teammates and try and mete out, try and work out the best play between you. And it stresses a kind of skill that is not used anywhere else of trying to explain how different game states work. And it's something that we didn't really click onto, I think, until after we had played that game.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a really big learning curve, kind of moment for Flesh and Blood in general.
Anyway, so that was the Battle Hardened event on Friday. The next day we had the
should we
we're
take
just going to take a
should we just-
quick cut here for a second.
Yep.
Yeah.
And welcome back, guys. Sorry, we just had a few technical difficulties. Unfortunately for the rest of the podcast, Liam's face will not be here,
just
but
gone, yeah.
he'll be here audioly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I assure you that Liam's face is okay.
It's still okay. Yeah.
It's still okay.
Currently
yeah.
okay
But
for the
you-
time being.
You'll just have his voice for the rest of the podcast.
Mm.
So anyway, we left off with just finishing off the Battle Hardened event, and let's talk about.
And I highly recommend you play Team Sealed if you ever get the opportunity.
Yeah,
Definitely play it. Play it when Crucible Unlimited comes out. Please beg your stores.
Yeah, make your
to
local game store.
Yeah.
Run a Team
Do it.
Sealed.
It's all right.
It's a lot of fun.
On Saturday, they had the Arcane Sealed event, which all three of us opted to not play in because we all three know how that format goes. If you don't pull an induction chamber, go home.
So
As evidenced by 7 out of 8 of the top 8 players in that
Yes.
event
And the
running
only
induction chamber.
yeah,
yeah, so when we were going up to the event, we were like thinking, are we being gaslighted? Because we hear all these Aucklanders saying, "Oh, Unlimited, Arcane Rising Sealed is the best. It's the greatest." And we're here thinking, you have to build an induction chamber or go home.
yeah.
And it turned out we were right. But
Shout out to Kiki Lebad again for pulling induction chamber and skull cap in
that
their sealed fall.
yeah.
That's one of the more ridiculous
Shout out
ones I've
to Kenny Forrester, aka also
Yeah.
known as Kenny Rogers,
seen. Yeah, from down here.
for also pulling an induction chamber.
And top 80 with it.
Top
Yeah,
8.
he only lost to Kiki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Skull
did
Cap
really
That's
was
well.
the
The
last
man's,
round.
the man's a limited monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does really well in limited events,
Yeah.
just
He
really
does.
consistently.
Yeah.
So, massive props to him.
Yeah. And while they were doing that, what were us three doing?
What do we do what do we do first? Did we go
So
to
we did a tiki tour around Auckland, didn't we?
yeah, down the CBD?
Down the CBD, chilled out, hang out, walked around. I think
We
we
did the
we had
sensory
a-
maze.
We had
did
a
the sensory maze. Yeah.
we had a sensory burger. Do you remember that?
Oh my god.
So-
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll explain the rest of it, and then we'll get there.
So we did
We'll
an
get there.
escape room after that, I think.
Yeah, we did the escape room after that. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
You might as well do an escape room if you've got the time. You're up there. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I
It's
really
my-
enjoyed them.
It was my
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
ever doing one, and yeah, it's pretty different.
Yeah.
to-
Yeah, we'll probably do some down here at some point.
Yeah.
Mm.
It just all depends on which ones you
We
guys
should
have
try
done.
and do one on like each trip away we do.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
cool.
yeah. It was really, really, really good fun actually.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
like,
We had
lots of-
Fraser with us who was severely hungover because he went out the night before,
Yeah.
which we didn't do, but he made for an interesting experience at the escape maze and the sensory
Yeah.
maze.
Yeah. So the next thing we did was we did a sensory maze, which was it's kind of like lots of really dark rooms that you go through, and they've got like different flashing lights and different textures, and you
Yeah.
have like rooms with
We-
balloons and stuff.
Me
on
and
them.
Fraser locked you guys on the mirror bridge for a bit because you guys
Yeah.
weren't sure where
Yeah.
the door
So there's
was.
this one room with like a bridge and kind of like a revolving light around it, but at the end is a door. So if you've got some cheeky teammates ahead of you, they just hold the door shut.
But it
You're
looks like a
trapped in
mirror, so
there.
you can't tell if it's supposed
Yeah,
to
so
open
the
or
whole
not.
room
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
mirror all the way around. So like,
We were trying to
You-
open this panel, but it wouldn't because Nick on the other hand is going.
Yeah.
it was
Um,
quality.
So yeah.
So
We did
was-
that, and then
Then we went for lunch, I think.
yeah, we went for lunch, and we went to Sneaky Snacky, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those
An
of you who don't
interesting-
know, Nick's goal of the trip was to try as many different burger places as he could.
So we ate 2 to 3 burgers every single day
Yep.
for the duration of this trip.
Yeah.
So
4-day weekend, and I think we did 7 burgers, which was one less than I intended.
Yeah.
yeah. So and all these
But you would've
burgers were
done
from
20
different
if you could've.
places.
Oh,
So-
whatever, we could have.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Didn't
you
have
had
the time.
planned out and like researched different burger places that.
Yeah,
we
I'd
would
put it
go
put
to.
effort into. This is like my favorite thing. Like I like if I go to a new city, I want to eat my most favorite food. My favorite food is burgers, and I want to see
Mhm.
what like their burgers are. So you go around to your best place to get
Yeah.
some tries. There were definitely some really good burgers, and
Yeah, some
we'll probably
really
do
nice
a
ones.
proper burger review at some point.
Yeah,
in the
we'll
next couple
there's
of weeks.
Burger
probably
review
there's
episode.
probably going to be a burger podcast episode.
But anyway,
at
the
some point.
sneaky snacky burger.
Uh,
What was it, Daniel?
an
Because
interesting-
you're a big fan.
I actually like this. So the sneaky snack burger is calling it burger is pretty generous. It's a donut that's glazed and then has chicken in it.
Or beef.
Yeah.
You can
Chicken
get
or
So it's a
beef.
burger with a donut as the buns.
Yeah,
With
and-
glaze poured over it.
And glaze, so it's like incredibly sweet. You're given plastic gloves to wear to eat it, and
Because it's so messy to eat.
because
Yeah.
it's so incredibly messy. And I ordered the most spicy option available because I
Yeah.
was like going all out. It was
Yeah.
a sensory burger, so I get it, and I start eating. I'm like, man, the ice cream in this is so good. What
There was no ice cream
there
in
was
it.
no ice cream. It was so
some like gherkin mayo.
it was mayo,
thing.
but
Yeah.
the burger was so sweet that I mistook it as ice cream.
Yeah. And so me and Nick didn't even finish ours because it was just way
Yeah,
too. It was
like-
too sweet to be edible.
Yeah,
It was just. I think we
and-
got like 4 or 5 mouthfuls in each, and we were just like, "This is
yeah,
it."
and
Fries
my
were really good though.
in
Mm.
my burger, the spiciness of the spicy sauce and the sweetness just combined together. It was amazing. I finished mine and could have done another one. It was so good.
Yeah. So that was our Saturday experience, I think. And
Yeah.
then what did we do that night?
I think we chilled.
We had a couple beers and sat on the deck, I think.
Yeah, we went and looked at the Sky City casino. We were there
Yeah.
for probably
An
I
hour
don't
and a
know,
half
like-
or something.
probably less than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we had like 2 drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
had
I
to drive
played,
everyone.
at like one roulette table.
Yeah. I was the
and that
mum of the
about it.
trip, so I was driving the
Yeah,
people
big-
move around.
Big
and
props to
yeah.
Liam. We literally couldn't get anywhere without him.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So we got home and made some last minute changes to people's decks. I think we were set on our list, so.
Yeah, I think
didn't.
we were pretty set,
But I think
pretty well
Stephen.
going
I
into
think I
it.
talked Stephen into playing Razors and Aggro Viscerai,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that ended up being really good for him. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
we'd already done all the testing. We were sort
Because
of
me and Nick
done.
had just been playing Ira Mirrors for months at that point. Oh, not Ira
Ira-
Mirrors, sorry.
Arcano
Arcano,
is-
yeah.
so come Sunday was a Blitz tournament.
Mm.
So
This was the calling main event.
148 or 152, one
it
of
was
the two.
incredible. Lots and lots of people.
Yeah,
Mm.
very very big.
157, I think it was.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, we'll start with me because I did the meme deck.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I decided to bring KO to the tournament, and
Which we thought was actually kind of a real deck at the time.
yeah, we thought it was okay, but we were also kind of aware that it was like B tier,
Mm.
and somewhat of a meme deck. So we were playing this hard control KO deck that was quite heavily inspired by Jason Chung's list. So we're playing super heavy control to try and defeat basically warriors and
Oh, actually, we didn't even think Warrior was a good deck at the time. Because
No,
Nick had been
yeah,
playing
true.
hard control Ira, which just
just screwed
rolled
killed,
it, so you
killed the
couldn't even play
matchups.
it.
Yeah,
Although we went on the red overpower list, like super Gotal stuff.
yeah. So super go to warrior ended up being really good in Blitz in the future, which I ended up playing.
I think the Goliath Gauntlet and the Potion of Strength from the Iris side just made that matchup too
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah.
I think against a normal Ira that wasn't playing
And the
Goliath
more
Gauntlet
mid-rangey ones with like
it
no...
would do a bit better.
And you're on
Yeah.
the sync blows and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Which is a lot harder to play versus when they can continually defense
Yeah.
rate you and not just flick flack.
Yeah. So in our testing, we didn't find the warrior deck in time,
Yeah.
and
so,
I ended up on
So you end up on KO.
KO, which is a really hard control deck. We're using remembrances to get things back. You can kill your opponents with Savage Swing, is it?
Reckless swing.
Reckless Swing
And pummels.
and pummels. And you're also looking for like 1 or 2 12s over a game to just close it out.
Mm.
The deck actually did really well against Rhino and Rhino and Warrior.
Yeah.
As well as a Benji matchup that I played earlier. So it did well against those decks, but the deck has no legs against Wizard. Just automatically loses.
Yeah, I think we played like round 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah, and you just die
And I
on turn
killed
2.
you in like turn 3 or something.
Yeah, yeah. So I lost 3 games to Wizard, and then 1 game against an Ira and 1 game against a Rhino. So I ended up going 6-5. So
Which is
went,
still
went,
not bad.
went
for-
positive on a mean deck.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my tournament. We'll get onto the better decks.
So I played Ira. I was pretty set on the Ira list that I was playing
I
for
think
a while.
we've been
I
on
mean,
the list for like a month and a half
yeah,
or something.
like,
Eh?
barely any cards changed, and then, like 1 or 2 changed here and there.
I think the
Just-
potion of strength got added in quite late.
Yeah, the personal strength got added quite late. I've been playing around with Goliath Gauntlet for ages, just because I
Yeah.
liked Goliathing and command on like second
Yeah.
attack for 9
Yeah.
because it forced a 3-card block when they
Yeah.
most likely didn't have that 3-card block.
Yeah, and we kind of noticed how good Goliath Gauntlet was, and we're just gonna drop a bombshell right now. Potion of Strength is my favorite card in the game, so I was like, hey Nick, maybe you should try Potion of Strength in the deck because you can go Dachi Potion of Strength, and then Command and Conquer for 9 is pretty good, right?
Mm.
So we ended up adding it on. And
Yeah,
would
so
you like to talk about your experience with the best card in the game?
So one of my matches up against a warrior, I got the Potion of Strength in pretty early, and he was like, interesting choice, didn't really like think much of it, and I was like,
Ooh.
the command is in my hand for next turn. draws the E strike as well, and then 2 blues, and I basically
That's
just
like-
went.
It's one of the most obnoxious
Let
games
him
to
in.
ever play versus.
Yeah. This is the reason why Warrior was completely dead in our play group.
Let him attack me, and I was just like, man, we'll go to 5. This is okay.
Yeah.
Like, we'll take 10 damage. This doesn't mean anything. And he's like, oh god, this is not good.
Yeah.
There you go. Pitch. Kadashi swing for 1. E strike for 8. Snapdragons. And then I go Goliath Gauntlet, Potion of Strength, pitch, Command and Conquer for 11. And about
10,
3.
I think.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah,
10,
10,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, it's only 11 if it's on my belt.
Yeah.
And then about 3 people down, I hear someone go, Command and Conquer for 10. What the?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, it's a little nasty. It's very hard to block against. I think the only way you get around it is if you have a full armor fridge and a full hand.
Yeah.
But he'd already thrown down a few cards on the E strike for 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
which is pretty
damage.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't expect the CNC for 10.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which hurt quite a bit. Aside from that, most of my matchups went pretty similar.
There were a couple I remember watching, which was your game versus Jared.
Yeah, so I had a very, very, very close game against Jared, and I probably shouldn't have won that. And it was, I think, bad draws on his behalf and letting me keep.
There was one missequence turn from which that you keep a card.
Yeah, I got to
And from
keep.
that you
I
managed
got to
to
keep.
claw back
Yeah, I
enough,
got to keep
yeah.
a blue and a command,
Mhm.
and I still had Goliath Gauntlet at that point, which basically
Uh,
gave me the
yeah,
game.
I think it was you let you keep one card by missequencing one attack,
Yeah.
and then it was you got 2 cards because he was on 1 with
Yeah.
2 Kadachis, and then turn after that you get to
Yeah.
keep 2 cards, which was the blue and command.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I managed. He just couldn't block enough, even with an Art of War in hand, and
Yeah.
like resourcing out and getting that he couldn't block against the
Yeah.
command.
Mm.
Yeah. And no shade for making any mistakes, because gosh, this
Yeah.
event ran until 1 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
It
yeah.
was a long
I
day.
think it was another
Well, Blitz
matchup.
is a super punishing format for mistakes.
Yeah.
So
So one
I-
mistake cost you the game.
I think a 3rd round versus the Kano, and I just red bricked 2 hands in a row against
And
Nick
that's it,
Holding,
right?
and
Yeah.
I just lost.
And in our testing, that was how you lost the matchup,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
you
you
draw
basically
red
just
hands. You draw 1 and it's hard. You draw 2 and you lose the game.
Yeah. And then I think I played against another Wizard. This was going a little bit later on, and I believe you came and grabbed me at the end of this because you were like, "We're going away to get some food." But this guy wanted to watch he wanted a repeat of this matchup because we're going crazy. Like
Yeah.
I'd drawn a hand, a full blue hand and 1 E strike, and I gone, we'll throw away the blues and we'll just keep the E strike. And then next hand I drew the E strike and 2 cards, and it was my turn to attack, and I just go. E strike for 7, Snapdragons. E strike for 8.
Yeah, and that's miserable to play versus from the Kano
Yeah.
side. Like,
Yeah. Turn 2, he's got no damage in on me. I'm still at 20 health,
mm.
and I've just given up my whole hand and flicked like
Yeah.
15 damage at him.
And the other matchup I remember watching for you was your last round, actually.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
last round I versed Jordan
Nelson
Fussell.
Fussell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan, you came second, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He ended
Yeah.
up coming in second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it was second. right?
Second.
No, no, he
it
came
was-
3rd
Yeah.
because it was.
He beat Matt Rogers and then lost in the
Yeah.
winners
Yeah.
bracket final.
So, yeah, mad props.
So
to
this-
him.
Semi-final, yeah.
This was a matchup where I couldn't make it into the top 8. I couldn't make it into top 8, and
Yeah.
Jordan was on the cusp of staying in the top 8 or being 9th. At the start of the matchup, we got a 5-minute timer because a few of the judges wanted to go for our decks to make sure our decks were accurate. They were accurate. There was no foul play there or anything. So
Just a
but
usual
anyway,
good check, yeah.
so most people matchups have already been having 5 minutes. So the people beside us, games were probably pretty close to ending. It was pretty well ended, and
And this is with the concession changes, so you can even concede to
Yeah,
let him in if
couldn't
you
see.
wanted to.
Yeah, even if I wanted to. There was still like a judge or two hanging around us, watching us as well for that matchup.
So
I ended up having to just play the best I could, and I ended up just putting a lot of pressure on Jordan, and I got an E-strike command turn, which just turned the game to being basically unwinnable for him at that point.
Yeah, so we're sitting there and we think you've dream crushed.
Basically
Jordan.
thought I dreamcast Jordan, someone who I got along with very well. I had sold cards to him plenty before. I had brought cards from him. I was pretty well friendly with him.
He's commentated on a lot of our streams.
And through the
Yeah.
Yugo community and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I felt pretty bad, and but there was nothing I could do. Like I couldn't hide my foul play. I couldn't just throw the game because I was being watched, and it would get noticed.
if you're unaware, the way concessions work had changed specifically just before this tournament.
Yeah.
So if you conceded any game in this tournament without special reason to, like you break a leg or something, then that's considered dropping from the tournament.
And I think this is a
So-
specific situation the rules were changed for. Was so people can't concede other players into the top 8 as it's looked at as you preventing another player from having the opportunity to get in who didn't get a free win in quotation marks.
Yeah.
But it feels very rough being the player who
Has
to knock someone out of the top 8 when previously you could concede to let them in when you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
So because if you get paired up and you don't have any hope of getting to the top 8 bracket, and the person you're playing does, or say you're 2 testing partners and one of you is guaranteed for top 8, or one isn't, and the other one might have a shot, it does make those situations quite difficult to play emotionally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of the New Zealand community is pretty tight, well knitted as well. So I mean, it's just. But anyway, top 8 got announced, and he got called top 8, and it was just
Made it an 8.
He came in 8th.
Yeah, so actually, speaking of that, so I lost.
He's a very happy chappy.
Yeah, I ended up playing Kano in that tournament.
Yeah.
And I think I've been set on a list for quite a while.
Yeah.
I ended on
I think you lost round 1, didn't you?
lost round 1 to Callum Gittins, who top 8'd.
Yeah.
So he was
Is he Ira?
he was playing Ira, and he had a lot of Kano experience because he was testing with Rohan Kana, who'd been crushing armories in Auckland for months at that time. He had won like 52. He went 52-0 for a bit or something similar in armories. Maybe not quite that ridiculous, but
So you're talking to
something
Rohan
like
quite a lot in the lead up, weren't you?
not really, but just mainly through the Flesh and Blood Discord. We'd had a few comments exchanged. So I get up there, and I lose to his testing partner round 1, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I actually have just match up versus a much better wizard player than me." I was like, "Oh, well, fair enough then." Yeah. So that was a rough way to start the day, and then I ended up winning the next 5 rounds or something. To stay in it, and then I played versus Dan Mackay in a Kano mirror, and my deck was on a lot less blues than most wizards because I've been playing versus Ira, and you need more action cards, or especially versus slow Ira, which Nick was on. You need more reds to actually push that damage. So I lost the wizard mirror, probably due to inexperience on my part, with only one real other wizard player down here.
We didn't really have many wizard players down here. It was really, the didn't mean it was very, very heavy Ira based. Which I also found quite frustrating to play.
And so I lost that, and then second last round of the day I play versus Rohan, and this was we're both at the time what would have been
you'd have been
6
8-2
and
at the
2.
time, right? Or you 8 and 2, weren't you?
it was
11 rounds, wasn't it?
11 rounds. So
you
it was second last round.
Second last round. Oh, so
So
you'd have been
7 and 2.
Yeah, 7-2. Yeah.
7-2. Yeah. So this was pretty much playing for top 8.
Yeah.
Whoever won this was likely to qualify, and as I found out later, he was on a 20 blue list, which is insane in the wizard mirror. You need because you need a blue to block on your turn, and you need a blue to patch on your blue to block on their turn, and then blue to attack with. And the more blues you're playing, the more likely it is. So when I was on 17 and he was on 20, it makes it very hard. And he cleaned me up. He had much more experience, and I ended up going for a stir fort because I felt like I was so far behind, and you just had the kill. So that was that. Fair play.
Yeah. After having played the wizard mirror for a little bit, I really recommend anyone to just put 2 wizard decks together or they don't even have to be very good, and then just play against someone with each playing a wizard deck, because
It's very different to Flesh and Blood.
It's a totally different way of playing Flesh and Blood, and I think that you only really get it after playing it for yourself. So I really highly recommend that you give that a go, because it's quite interesting.
Yeah. And then last round I played versus Kiki Labad, which is sounding very similar to my Nats story actually. Same players. But last round I played versus Kiki, who was on IRA, and we're both at 7-3, so we're not looking alive for top 8. And I was stoked for Rohan, because I talked to him before. Lovely dude. And I thought he was going to make it if he won this round. But yeah, I played versus Kiki, and it was like the highest roll game I'd had all day. Again, won a game that is probably unfavoured for me.
Yeah.
Versus the same player. And so that was quite a nice way for me to finish the day.
Props to Kiki though; he's always,
Always
an absolute top player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always lovely to play against.
Yeah.
Great person.
And then
shout out to Kiki. What an absolute champ.
Yeah, and then after playing this win in second last round versus Rohan, well, what we thought was a win in, and then top 8 gets announced, and they announce 7, and then go from 16 back, and Rohan gets announced as 9th. I was just gutted for him. It was like,
It's just someone's got to get in, and someone's not going to get
it
in.
has to happen, right?
Yeah, right.
And
That
then
sucks.
Jordan got announced for 8th, and
Yeah.
I think that was one of the most emotional kind of scene that I've seen, and one of the most emotional scenes that I've seen in the Flesh and Blood tournament scene. He was overjoyed that he'd made it. Yeah. So another big shout out to Jordan.
So,
Me
yeah,
and Liam
so
ended
then-
up 8 and 3, right?
Yeah, I ended up 12th place, and I think you were 17th.
Yeah, 16, 15th, one of those. Yeah,
Sounds about right.
Yeah, about that. Yeah,
we were pretty close to each
and
other.
I think I was the 3rd highest placing wizard player.
I was 30 something.
Maybe 4th.
I was probably the 15th highest placing Ira player. There was two.
Yeah, there was so many
Ira
Iras.
was an extremely dominant deck in this in the tournament.
Yeah.
So
Largely due to drone brutality and Flick Flack has just.
But man, props to the players playing in top 8 who ended up playing for something like 6 more hours after Swiss had ended.
Yeah, so we started at
Because
9 a.m. and it didn't. The final round didn't finish until 1 a.m.
yeah.
So Jacob Pearson played
Took
from,
it out.
Yeah, took it out. Played from 9 a.m.
Yeah.
till 1 a.m. the next day.
Those double elimination top 8s take a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and massive props to him, because he had worked really hard to help organise this event, working together with Card Merchant, and he had played so well the entire evening, and you could just tell at the end how much winning had meant to him.
Yeah.
So,
It was an amazing experience to be part of, and I'm very glad to be a good friend of his.
yeah, definitely, a really great evening for Flesh and Blood competitive play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was our calling experience. It was pretty good. I think we all went back to Dunedin around lunchtime on Monday.
Yeah, the next day.
Yeah, pretty chill.
Had to get up too early after staying up to watch this final at 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took a little bit of a break from Fab after that. My brain's a bit fried.
Yeah, I think I came back and played some more Blitz.
I think I played a couple of Blitz as well, but then I just realized
I played some silly decks.
I played too much Ira, and I
Yeah.
needed to take a break.
Yeah.
After we've been tryharding, practicing versus all our locals.
Yeah.
And then just
Yeah.
play something.
That's
a
the
bit more
thing, is
interactive.
it's always good
Especially
to...
in Blitz, it's pretty...
Yeah. I was very keen to get off Blitz, because, to be honest, I did not really enjoy the format very much. So I'm really happy now that Monarch is out and we get to experiment, try new things, and have more interactive games.
Yeah.
So,
And hopefully a lot of
definitely
constructed
also.
events for Monarch.
yeah, I
I'd
hope
be super
so.
down for that.
I think this constructed format, moving on, I guess,
Super open.
it's super open. Who knows what's going to happen? We have a really big event down here in Dunedin this weekend. So
Yeah, so this Saturday we have a Crucible winner case here
Yeah.
in Dunedin.
Yeah.
we've got some really good
Proudly,
players.
Still time to
proudly
travel, guys.
hosted
Yeah.
and prize supported by
By
Dice
Jar
Jar.
Games, where we happen to be filming right now.
Yeah.
So,
So
really, really exciting.
And if you're considering attending or not, the prize pool only goes up with more players. So
yeah.
yeah,
Definitely show
I
up.
believe at the
Crucible
moment we
win a case.
have 22, and I believe there's 3 of us here that haven't
Haven't registered.
registered,
Yeah.
so
It's
we're
gonna-
25 players.
Yeah.
There's going to be a good number
just
of
got Greg
people
frowning at us
coming
across
down.
the table.
He just realised that I haven't pre-registered as well, and he's like, oh,
Yeah, so
God
there's
damn.
if you do pre-register, there is a $5 discount for doing so. With
Yeah.
the main entry.
Look, I just
costing.
want to support the store and give an extra $5, man. Without actually just giving an extra $5.
Come on,
Yeah.
Greg, see our point of view.
So yeah, still not sure what I'm going to play in that, to be honest.
So I'm looking at making a Livia list.
Yeah.
We've got a constructed event tomorrow, Armory, on Wednesday.
I think that'll
so
be
a testing
our
ground.
testing
day.
ground. Our one
Yeah.
test for the week.
I know. We're woefully underprepared, as
Yeah.
we've only just got stock in last weekend.
Yeah,
So-
we have Matt Rogers in the building for that as
Yeah.
well. So.
Yeah.
We've heard some rumours down through the grapevine that he's either going to be playing Chain or Prism.
Mm.
So we're kind of thinking, what's good against Chain, what's good against Prism, and
And
Yeah.
what are we thinking is good against those?
I'm thinking Livia, to be honest,
Yeah.
because Livia has all those cards that block Prism really well.
You know you're a good player when like your people's entire decision making process is surrounded by what are you playing.
Yeah.
yeah. Shout out to Matt Rogers. We hear him play, we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We'll react to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
No, I think Chain's a good deck in general. It's
Yeah.
super aggressive,
Yeah.
Chain-
reasonably easy to play, which matters a lot.
Yeah, and kind of easy to put together as well.
Mm.
So we're thinking maybe or I'm thinking maybe the best things to play are either a Livia deck that's kind of built to beat both Chain and Prism, or a slightly different Chain deck that's better in the mirror. And I think a Chain's deck is going to be naturally good against Prism.
Yeah.
So those are my kind of thoughts. But
Mm.
honestly, it could go any way.
Are you just
I
going to
don't
stay on mech, Nick?
I mean,
Not giving anything away, but
Go on.
Nick's only ever played mech in his life, I think.
it's the only deck I know. I have never played Ira. Never played. So
Look, do you know how to play Flesh and Blood?
I
You just
I do.
load.
It's counting, right?
Oh,
One resource on the induction. One resource.
you just
on
see
the
two
pistol.
blues and go,
Yeah.
I can load 3 times.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
It's only pretty good.
Yeah.
And then
I can't blame you. I just think blue seismic, blue hammer.
so yeah, no, I don't have all the cards I need. I think for this set, and I'm not comfortable enough to just make up a list of a new hero with
Yeah.
zero testing and just play it.
It does
Yeah.
feel a bit like Flying Blind, eh?
Yeah,
Just
it's just-
picking one of these new heroes.
Yeah, I'm considering staying on Rhino.
So I think I'm just gonna. I either am playing warrior or I'm playing mech, and I'm most likely playing mech.
Mhm.
I think-
Just because I'm comfortable playing either of them, and I know I can reinforce the dash matchup. The only problem is I fear the Kane matchup a lot. Like
On
Yeah.
dash.
yeah, from the
Mhm.
dash side.
Yeah.
I think Warrior has a pretty good chain matchup. Like
Yeah.
forcing cards out of hand versus decks that don't block too efficiently. Carrying Husk being the obvious problem there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
feel like
that's only going to
It's
be
like
a
it's only
one-turn
once,
problem,
right?
Yeah.
So
I feel
And they
like
have to time that very well. right?
Chain is going to struggle against decks that can really like push the issue, push the game forward from turn 2 onwards.
or make him use hands inefficiently.
Yeah.
So like Reinhardt's barraging beatdown might be quite often you have to take the 7 because you don't want
True,
to
true.
you don't
Yeah.
want to block away your blues that you're left with or something
Yeah.
similar.
Just to be clear for everyone here, I'm well aware I'm saying Kane incorrect and it's Chain.
You're an
just-
I'm
animal.
just
man doesn't care.
adamant. I just don't care,
Yeah.
and it's Kane
We've,
for me
we've
now.
given up on Nick's pronunciation of names, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
guys
so-
will
so
have
the
to deal
deck
with
I've
it,
been on
sir.
for a while now and constructed is combo Rhino,
Yeah.
which is claws, Blood Rush Bellows. You only swap to club for Ninja because it's super hard.
Yeah.
And you just set up for those big 20 damage Blood Rush Bellows turns twice a game.
Yeah.
And that's made
It's
popular
the-
by
yeah.
Jason Long at Nationals,
Yeah.
and Dan McKay played, who's Jason's testing partner,
Mhm.
in the Red Riot Games tournament and took down Matt Rogers in the finals.
Yeah.
But the list is super powerful,
So
does very
yeah.
powerful things, yeah.
the key cards in that deck are Blood Rush Bellows, which give your Rhino attacks +2, and Go Again, and also Intimidates a card when you use it.
Yeah.
Art of War, which just lets you go super wide, lets you dig really
Yeah,
hard.
and
and
I
so
reckon
sketch
it's one of the
plan.
best out of war decks in the game.
Yeah, Art of War has really, name of the
That was the big-
podcast, has just proven itself to be so much more than we thought it was when the card first came out. It card just really does do everything.
That was the
So,
big enabler for claws. Because our testing for nationals, we were testing claws for a while,
Yeah.
and we ended on club because we figured that was pretty much the same card, the same thing but more consistent. But turns out when you add an extra energy potion and Art of War to give all your big stuff go again,
and start playing around your Sand-Sketch planes more, the deck is just quite wild.
and it can really go off.
20 damage turns, and it really does solve the Bravo matchup for the deck as well.
Yeah, which
makes
was
it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So we were pretty close to it, but
We just needed one card
just
apparently.
didn't quite work out the Art of War. We had it kind of pegged in the Ninja box. Didn't quite realize how strong it was, and outside of Ninja as well.
How much of an enabler it actually is for the go again specifically.
Yeah, and now these Monarch classes coming out, and I'm thinking, gosh, I'm going to need to buy some more because it seems good in Bolton, seems great in Levia, amazing in Chain.
Yeah.
So,
Levy giving you next thing go again, draw 2, turning off Blood Debt is just phenomenal. Like, you can't ask for more on a card.
Yeah.
It does so much for Shadow Heroes.
Yeah.
Like,
In saying that, do you think there'll be much of us, other Dunedin players, picking up any of the new classes for this event?
Yeah, I think probably too many.
I think
I think there'll be a bit too many people trying Prism out and trying. There'll be a few Boltons, I think, but personally, I'm not as interested in the class.
good friend of the podcast, Callum, was thinking about picking up either
Callum Forrester.
Callum Rogers, Nick.
No,
thinking
he's not as good as Matt, so I can't call him Rogers yet.
He's got a long way to go.
Lay off it, man. He's thinking of picking up Bolton. He's
been crushing it unlimited with him actually.
he's been doing really well. So
In fairness, in that draft, in that pod, not a single one of us picked the Bolton card, and he got free range on them all.
well, that was just big brain by him, right?
Yeah, it's just good drafting.
Yeah.
I ended up with a decent Levy deck, and it still sucked.
I ended up with a decent chainless, and it still sucked.
The second draft I did, I played Bolton. I only got one time skippers as my equipment and still won.
And then super high rolled me. It was very frustrating.
Yes.
We played the Bolton mirror.
Liam was the other Bolton at the table, and he had full equipment, and I was, God, how the hell am I going to beat him? Turns out my deck.
I drew 2 red hands in a row, and Daniel drew about 15 damage turns twice in a row.
So
and that's
the
good
quality
enough.
of my cards that ended up in my hand just ended up being better, and was able to kill him through Gallantry Gold. So Gallantry Gold is such a nuts equipment. And
It's by far the best common.
Yeah. So I was playing Chain against Callum on Bolton the previous night, and he had Gallantry Gold in play, and I just stripped him to one card, and I say to him as he passes the turn, if you have a blue, I'm in trouble, even if you're one card hand, because you can put to that blue, break Gallantry Gold, and come in for 3 and then 4.
Yeah.
And it's just...
It's very frustrating to play this in a limited environment.
Yeah.
When one blue can turn into a 2 or 3 card strip.
Yeah.
And also have a 1 equipment block on it. It feels very hard to play this.
Yeah.
Especially when no other class really has a comparable equipment.
Yeah. So limited tips. If you see a Gallantry Gold in draft, take it and stop playing Warrior.
Yeah.
So that card is just so powerful. Cool. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? I think we've covered.
Just looking forward to Monarch constructed, I think.
Just looking forward to Monarch. Yep.
Yeah.
I believe we have a discount code of some sort for Fab singles to throw at you guys.
Yeah.
Team Dice Jazz 0 for that.
So the discount code is it lowercase?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So
Go ahead.
capitals, lowercase, doesn't matter. It's
Just
Team
make it up
Dice
as you like.
05.
Yeah.
It's up on the screen on the.
So it'll be up on the screen
We've got
around us
lots
somewhere.
of Monarch singles coming to the Dice Jar website, so make sure to check them out for all your legendaries or your majestics. Got 4 majestics. Lots of
Limit of
cards
what,
coming.
one different legendary per person, so
And a
that way
play set
no
of
one can buy
cards, I
them all
believe.
up.
Something
Yep.
like that.
Yep. So they should be available for a good while.
And a limit of 3 per each unique majestic.
Yeah,
lot.
so you can
limit
only-
of 3 majestics.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can only get your play sets, you can't hoard them.
Yeah,
It's for the
yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Make sure to check out Dice Jar Games singles website, upcoming skirmish events, and
Yeah, and we hope to see you down in Dunedin sometime.
Yeah,
Be great to play with
definitely.
some new
Looking forward
faces.
to this weekend,
This Saturday.
this Saturday.
and
Yeah.
lastly,
Bit short notice
lastly,
maybe, but
just a massive shout out to Liam for coming out onto the podcast as our first guest.
Thank you, Liam.
So-
It's not easy to put your trust into a new podcast.
especially when you can't even have a working camera for me the whole time. Yeah, no, but it's been great to.
It's all right,
been
we'll
great to
fire the
come on and-
producer. Give me
you're
one, it's
showing
alright.
us up, Liam.
It's been great to come on and tell all the stories about, Nick getting too drunk at events and
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel getting lost in Auckland. Yeah.
I'm a bit gutted we're not going to the call-in this time
Mm.
for another repeat
Yeah.
of getting drunk again.
Yeah.
But
This
is around
unfortunately,
this
a bit
time,
too
yeah.
short notice for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
And
busy time for me going into a house,
exams
with uni and exams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
So,
my trade exam at the end of the month, so
Yeah.
definitely be looking forward to Road to National season though.
absolutely.
So, yeah,
Super
that's gonna be
excited
a
for
big
that.
one.
Yeah, hopefully there's a couple of double hitters, whether it be in Auckland or Wellington, because
Yeah.
we'll definitely go for those.
Yep.
And we'll probably drive up for a Nelson one and a Christchurch one if there is.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for joining us on The Art of War. See you next week.
Yep.
Yeah.